Okay, we're about halfway through now. Just going to see what it's reading. I had it on 67, 1 degree above, but it seems I'm getting pretty... Oh, the pump's out. The water's cleared up. The pump seems to be going still. I haven't gone down the overflow pipe yet, by the looks. What are we sitting at? 65. Oh, we're still down. Oh no, 65.1, 65.2, 65.4, 65.5. No, so we'll see. It's about right coming out of here. It's 5.6. No, I will leave it at 65.7. I will leave it at the 67 for the rest of the mash. It's probably mostly done now anyway. I think we're about halfway through. Can you see that on the screen? I don't know. 65.7. We're at 67 on the element setting for a 66 degree mash. 65.9, 66. There you go. We must be going through a cycle. We're sort of stable there at 66.2. You can see it? Can you see it? So that's good. That's good. So leave it alone. Well, the hour is up. I'll just open her up, have a look. Whoop. And we haven't even gone down the overflow at all today. And the pump's going at a fair rate. Look, the wort's cleaned itself up immensely from when you saw it looking like mud before from me doing all the stirring, so that's great. That means we're getting great flow through the grain bed, and that's really good. I'm happy about that. That's what the ROBOBREW's set at, 67. I'm on 66, which is great. We'll check the top now. Anyway, that's close enough by a mile. Very happy with that. Alright, that's 65.9. Alright, let's pull this basket anyway. 66! Yay! Pumps off. Drain her out. Get this lid out of the way so I don't drop it. Find the handle. Shit. Found the handle. I've made a monumental stuff up today. I haven't heated any mashed sparge water. See, I'm used to having my HLT on and I didn't put it on again today. So we're going to sparge with cold water. There's an experiment. This is really an experiment. Alright, hang on, let's pull this basket. I could just leave it for another half an hour to heat up the sparge water a little bit. But I'm not going to. Let's just sparge with cold water for an experiment, eh? Alright, here we go. Everything's off. I'll get hooked on the bars. There we go. Sparge with cold water. This is going to be interesting. Now you've got to remember that I put in an extra litre of hot water. So there was 19 litres of water in there, so I take a litre off my sparge. I bumped this version up, so I should get 23 litres out of this. My sparge water is about 16.5 or something like that it was. So I'm going to go to 15.5 litres. We'll see how we go. Can't even find the jug at the moment. Trying to do too many things at once today. Alright. I know I've got to go from 29 litres down to 14 with 15 litres. And a cold sparge. I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to hit pre-boil of 048. So I'm going to confuse things a bit here, but I didn't add any more grain than I would for my normal batch, which is because I've bumped this up to 24, so I get 23 out without stuffing around. And I haven't bumped the grain up. But we came out 2 points up last time. So I'm hoping with the extra litre, we're going to hit that 1048 or roundabout, and we'll see what happens. You don't need to watch this. 14 litres, 15 litres I'm going to Sparge. It's supposed to be, I think, 15 and a half. We'll just see where we're at once we get that through. Cold water Sparge. Good experiment. Going a bit slow, which isn't a bad thing. It's a good thing. Slow Sparge is a good Sparge. I've just turned on the HLT, so hopefully the slower the Sparge, it might be able to warm up a couple of degrees. I should have put it in there, put 14 litres in the other ROBOBREW and turn both elements on. That'll get it heated up quick. Instead, I'm trying to heat up 25 litres in here now that I've got. Dumb. If you're in the US, I always talk litres. It's about a quart. A litre's about a quart. Pretty close. There is a difference once you get, 30 quarts to 30 litres, but it's pretty close. I'm going to bump up the temperature down the bottom, turn both elements on and bump it up to start it heading towards the boil, especially since I'm using cold water. Otherwise it's going to take forever. If we do get to the end and we haven't hit the gravity, it'll be good to show you how to adjust it to your gravity anyway. Just add some sugar or some dry malt extract or liquid extract, whatever you've got hanging around. Sugar would be fine in a beer like this. Dextrose, whatever. Any sane person would have mashed for another half an hour and heated up the Sparge water. But, me. There's 7 litres to go of Sparge water and it's just lukewarm. It's just lukewarm. About baby bottle food. Baby bottle temperature. Yeah. But I'm going to no chill this today, cube it. I don't get many hours during the day while the kids are away for a couple of hours, so I'm just going to do it quick. No chill, into a cube. I don't have to worry then. I'll put it in the fermenter tomorrow. Still got a few litres to go. I also didn't mention that this is a whole new Beersmith profile I made, especially for the ROBOBREW pump, but I quickly put it together last night. It hasn't been tested whatsoever. So we're really winging it this brew. Come on. Sparge is slowed right down. It must be the cold water. Should take the thing off and give it a little bit of a nudge, stir around the top. Because when you recirc, you can get a lot of powders at the top of the mash bed, and that can sort of block the top of the mash bed. I don't know if that's the problem now, but it is a problem of recircing. And I think I said it was 15.5. It was supposed to be 18 litres mash and 16.8 litre Sparge for this one. So I got a full 23 litres out without tipping it up. I put that extra litre in, so actually I'm supposed to put 15.8 in Sparge. So as I said, it's a bit of an experiment with a new profile. I could be way wrong. Over there. That water's slightly warm. Oh, there's actually a little bit of steam off it. Oh, I'd still stick your finger in it easy. There you go. The last litre and a bit was hot. Well, not hot, warm. The rest was cold. Oh, we'll let that Sparge through. There's no water on top, but we're still draining. We're getting very full. I think I'm about 30 litres is about where that line is at the top there that you can just see down there. I'm pushing it to just over 30 litres to try and see how much we get out of it. So it doesn't look like we're quite there yet. Barely hear any dripping anymore. I think we've hit about the 30 litre mark. I don't even know if that 30 metre mark is accurate anyway. I'm going to pull it and see how we go. That's where we are. I'm not sure what that is. Look on the back. Yeah, it's probably just over the 30 litre mark. I don't know if that 30 litre mark is accurate. cases like this, again, I'd suggest using some firm cap if you got it, or as I've mentioned before, that's the one I've got. Same stuff. Just a quick word on no chill again. That's your normal one that most people have probably seen from people like Keg King. Oh, the label's been eaten off or fallen off or whatever. And they're only about 16 to 17 litres. It says 17 litres on there, but I think once it shrinks down, you sometimes, like when you put in the fermenter, unless my fermenter's way out, you don't seem to even get 17 litres. But one of my mates, Anth, I might have said this in another, came up with some 23 litre ones, which that's 6 gallon, and this is just under 5 for those in the US. And what they usually do, you can either do it straight or you can add a couple of litres of cold water at the end to top up. Whereas, of course, with these 6 gallon ones, there's no need to do that. Us Aussies have been no chilling for a long time now, and single brewing vessel. You can thank us for that for a long time. But in the old days, we wouldn't even sanitize these. You'd make sure they were nice and clean, but there was no need to sanitize a no chill cube. Half of the reason you put boiling wort in there was because that sanitized it itself, as long as it was nice and clean. But, you know, of course, star sands, we've always got star sand hanging around now. They're so quick and easy. I think most people whack a little bit of star sand like I got in this at the moment. It has been sitting around with some old stuff in it, which isn't ideal. You're actually better off storing things empty and dry. Like, you could leave the lid on, but just leave it so there's a tiny bit of airflow, because air gets stale in things. It's the same in your kegs. That's for long-term storage. You know, if it's only for a week or a couple of weeks, it doesn't really matter. But this one had some liquid in it. I think it was star sand. I'm not sure if it was sodium bicarbonate or not. So I've given it a rinse out a few times, and I've just put some star sand in there to freshen her up a bit. And it smells okay. It smells fine, actually. So that's one I'll be using today, the 23 litres. So that means hopefully I get 23 litres out of here, because you want to fill them up. It's all right for a little bit of air in them, but preferably you don't want any. Another thing I'll show you, I have been filtering it coming up to the boil, just because you know all that stirring I did and stuffing around. But, so that's all that I've got out, which is nothing. Most of that is foam. I probably took too much foam out. But that is bugger all. I reckon that is actually less than I pulled out of the brew last week. And I didn't stuff around with the one last week. So it just goes to show, eh? I didn't really put anything, extra bits of grain or anything into the brew with all that stirring and scraping of the bottom plate. As soon as we hit the boil, I'll take a reading. Okay, so I was just about to say what my pre and OG looking like supposed to be, and I've just realised with this new profile I've done in Beersmith, I sort of trusted their equipment builder again, which has stuffed me up many times, that I won't get from pre 39 to OG of 48. I just don't think that's possible with the ROBOBREW unless you boil for a lot longer than 60 minutes, maybe 90 minutes. And that's my fault, but it is something you've got to watch with Beersmith. I'd adjusted it in my old profile because I knew it just didn't happen. And that's probably the trap a lot of people are falling into. But we'll see how we go today. I haven't taken any readings yet. I'm waiting for it to come to the boil so I know it's all mixed up to get an accurate pre-boil. And we'll see what happens. Now this is going to be very interesting due to a cold Sparge, a new Beersmith profile that I obviously didn't check over closely enough. But I'm aiming for about a 1039 pre-boil, it says. So let's do it, eh? Take some wort out. Try not to burn myself or squirt this everywhere, which is quite easy to happen. Turn it over like that. Get the hot wort in the end. Cool the bugger down. Here's a neighbour. Cheers, mate. Good on you, Eddie. Cool it down. We're boiling now, got to watch it. We're very full. Oh, we're full. If I manage to get away with this without a boil over, it'll be a miracle. I seem to be alright. It'll happen when I'm not watching. It's always the way. That feels cool now. It doesn't take long on the ice. Get out there, bloody air bubbles. Oh, well that's good news. That says 1042 or about 10.9 bricks. 10.9? Yes, about 10.9 or 1042. That's good. Wow. That's kind of amazing. I better just take it, just check again. Get out of there, bubbles. And that's saying even a touch higher. That's amazing. I did not expect that. I'll see if I can. Oh, it's not going to probably work pointing back to me. There we go. Alright, well that's good. That means we will hit our OG. Now, I wonder why we're up. It could be because of the protein rest. Or no, or it could be because of the extra Sparge water. Although you think the numbers would go down, but you could have... Might be the cold Sparge is the new answer. I don't know, it's interesting though. We'll see if we hit the OG, eh? That's going to get us a lot closer. Because that'll be 42... a 42 pre-boil, and as I said, you'll probably lose 5 points, and that will get me to 47, 48, which is perfect. Get the hops in. This is a simple amber ale. I usually hop it up at the end. I'm not going to hop it up at the end because I'm no chilling it, and that's just doesn't work very well in no chill. I don't care what anybody says. Although some people do some brilliant IPAs and things. 18 grams of Magnum, which will get us around the 25-26 IBU mark. For 60 minutes, that is. But I'm just leaving it at 60. I'm not adjusting it because of the no chill, because it might be 1 IBU different in math if you work it out in maths with a no chill. So I'm just leaving it as it is. Just stir that up a bit. And so we'll boil that for an hour and just put it in the no chill cube. So we are at the end of time. Now I can't see how much I've boiled off. It's probably a few litres there. We'll take a quick reading before I turn this off and see how we're going. I just want to make sure we're close to where I want to be. With the troubles I've had today, who knows where we're at. So I'll just try and take a sample. Like that, and cool it down quickly. Once I've half melted this pipette up. I hope I haven't closed it. I thought I might have closed it. I might have to chop the end off. It's very hot. Chill it down. Get the refrac. I did clean it last time, didn't I? Yes. Still get wood out of this. I pressed it shut. Oh no, there we go. Now we were one after about 48. Oh, look at that! You wouldn't believe it. I'm not even going to turn the camera off. You would not believe that. we are... Yeah, can you see that? That is spot on. That is spot on. There you go, eh? We made it. I better turn it off, otherwise we're going to go over. There's many ways we could do this. We could pump it in through the pipe and pump it into the cube. I don't want to mess around with hot water and turning the pump off and then having extra work come out. So I'm just going to do it through the tap. I'm just going to clear the tap just in case there's some junk in it. I keep forgetting this one's got a lock on it. Alright, so that's got any junk out of the tap. I'm just going to put that on there and I'm just going to go straight into this cube. I should really bolt that on, but I haven't. So we're going to see how we go, eh? And it's going to get hot. It's going to get hot. Funny enough. So I should get 23 litres out. I'll speed it up. Getting there. Watch me burn myself. I should have gloves on. You there? Oh, we're so close. So close. Now I'll just tip it up a little. Whoop. That was done. There we go. Oh, there we go. They're full. I like just to get the lid on and just wash that gunk up from around the rim, especially if you're long-term storaging it. But I'm not. I'm going to put this in tomorrow anyway. You can try and squeeze more air out if you like and lift it up, but it's not really needed. That'll all shrink in anyway once it cools down. This is star sand, it doesn't have to be, it can be just water just to rinse it off. Oops, turn the tap off, I'm still leaking onto the floor. Well, there you go, well that was 23 litres. I just had the tip up at the end, but there's still plenty in there, I'll show you. And the usual you do with the cube, is roll it on its side. To make sure it gets the hot work gets all around the cube, if there, just in case there is a bit of air. Not that you can see. So it gets around the top, around the handle, and then roll it again in about 5 minutes, and then leave it to cool down. There you go. I've just taken the cover out and the hops out so you can see. And excuse the steam. There's still actually a fair bit in there. That's good. That's what it's meant to be. I was supposed to get me 23 litres out and still have the, 1.3 litres or whatever it is, 1.2 litres in the bottom. That looks like I could even have more because it's still above the tap hole. Okay, cheers. This is the same style of beer I brewed today. My amber ale. Looks darker. Hang on, I'll try and video it from this side. There you go, that's a better colour of it. I've nearly finished it now. It was darker and it tasted better with the dark Simpsons instead of the dark Gladfield crystal. But it's still nice with the Gladfield. But I prefer the Simpsons dark crystal. Anyway, cheers. It started as a American red rye and then blended, went to American amber, and then I put it in a competition, Beer Fest 2017, earlier this year, as they didn't have a proper category for me to put it in, so I put it in English ale under like an ESB, because it's not quite as hoppy as a lot of American amber ales, but and it came fourth, I think it was, third or fourth. But anyway, I was going to go over the recipe, but I'll put a link for the recipe. but it's mainly you know, a 2-row and a bit of Munich and a bit of dark crystal and a tiny little bit of roasted barley just for colour more than anything else. But I just want to talk through what happened today. Step mashing. I know a lot of people are attracted to it, but my advice is study what grain you're using, and if you're using a heavily modified grains like most are these days, the modern malts, the maltsters do the job for you. The step mashing, you're more than likely going to ruin the malt, well, not ruin, change it in a way that's not needed to be changed. But yeah, you can make it be thin, and you can actually destroy head if you don't do it properly. So just study your malt first. I'd advise, most of the malts I use, I don't really need to do step mashing. The only time I do it, as I said earlier, is for pH. So put your mash in under mash temperature, take your pH, adjust your pH, then raise up your temperature. So is it necessary now? pH, I've already talked about that. Once you go into step mash or step the temperature up, it doesn't matter what system you got, whether it's this or a bloody Brewmeister or Grainfather or your own built-in Herms. It can take a while. It's great if you can get it done in like 10 minutes, but sometimes it can take 20 minutes, and I think that's too long. For me anyway, I haven't got that time to muck around. So that's adding a litre of boiling water like I did, or 2 litres, depending on how big your batch is and what temperature you're trying to jump. Worked a treat. Like you saw that, there's no trickery in this video today. You got the bones of everything and the balls of bones. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but you got it all. You got it all, and once I put that water in, like I did turn the other element on, but it wasn't that heated it up. It was that water finally got through and got it up to temp. Or you can use a heat stick. A heat stick's a good thing to buy. Or you can build your own. They're a little bit of a bugger to build. I've got a cheap one from China that I'm too scared to use. But if you can just nudge it along, give it a bit of help, that'll speed things up for you. As far as the ROBOBREW again, I think I said I was set to 67 instead of 66, and I was riding on 66 in the top, out of the pipe I mean, so all good. What else? It took me so long to find this list that I'd written. I had other stuff to put on it and I've forgotten. So step mashing is up to you. Do your study. I'll put a link down there from How to Brew John Palmer, and he says not to step mash modified malts. And you know, I can put other links down there that say that will do it, but I don't think, unless you're having problems. If you're searching problems, you know, it's like anything. Unless you're going for a very specific style that calls for it, or you're having a certain problem and you just, you know, you research the problem and find out, oh, it could be from the step mash or the pH or whatever, then adjust it. Because if you start playing around and you don't really know what you're doing, you're more likely to do more damage than good, like I usually do. But I think that's it. The cube's down here cooling down. I'll chuck it in the fermenter tomorrow. If I haven't edited this video by tomorrow, which I probably haven't, might even show me putting it in the fermenter. But I might not too, because it's pretty boring. Cheers. Just as I finished it, I remembered. I actually did a recipe video for this recipe. Wasn't in the ROBOBREW, but you know, exactly the same recipe. And I'll put that up soon. It goes into the recipe a little bit more detail. Cheers. Werflock, 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 werflock.